You are about to opt in to Monerotopia, a show for the Monero community where all are welcome to join. From noob to maxi, no matter what bags you hold. Just sit back and relax to the sweet sounds of Monero's latest progress. Or if you're feeling inspired, join us on stage. Remember, the only thing that can stop Monero is a false belief that it can be stopped. And if you want to win the revolution faster, we recommend you remove your XMR from all custodial exchanges immediately. Warning, voting accidents are common around here. Don't forget to properly secure your private keys. Monerotopia starts now.
All right, we are live at the Counterparty in Miami. I'm here with Nick Spano. Nick, what's going on, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Your talk yesterday was epic. What's the? Yes, it was. What is the word? What I don't want to butcher. I gotta.
Tharos.
And it means your purpose, right? Your
ability to move through your environment, self-actualizing, affect your environment, and your bravery and your ability to, organize chaos around you and affect the world around you with bravery and kindness too, but bravery mostly.
For you, what is self-actualization for you? What is it? What is your tharos? What's your mission?
Well, since 1991, when I found out what the Federal Reserve, that there was no gold behind the dollar, and that I went from being a guy with a lot of money to a commercial fisherman, and I figured out that it was the Federal Reserve's fault. My goal's been to destroy the Federal Reserve.
You were a commercial fisherman at the time?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So my goal's been to destroy the Federal Reserve system. Since then, so I've backed many political candidates and efforts and groups, and here I am today.
Yeah, man, you are the ultimate OG. You're the guy that created the Bitcoin Center in New York. What year was that? That was like 2013. I was there back in the day. I visited. It was. How did you pull that off? First of all, I mean, the most high-priced exclusive real estate across the street from the New York Stock Exchange. How did you even make that? What can you tell us of how you even made that happen? That is amazing.
Well, so we're trading in the park over there on it was Satoshi Square, called Satoshi Square, not Washington Square, Union Square Park North, under the Lincoln statue on the north side of Union Square, New York City, on Monday nights from 6 to 8 maybe, and I'd see on TV the same talking heads who talk shit about Ron were talking shit about Bitcoin, and I figured that they're the problem, and I got very angry, and I kind of destroyed my office. I smashed everything, and I said, I'm gonna go downtown. I'm gonna get a booth in the stock market. So I go to New York. I go to New York Stock Exchange, and I work my way all the way up to the top, to the chairman of the stock exchange. I said, I need a booth. You got those booths down there? I want to rent one. And they all looked at me like I was crazy. He goes, "What's that Bitcoin? That's like for video games." I go, "Well, yeah, video games. Some games handed them out, for free if you played them." They laughed me out of there. And then I saw this guy, some economist, talking shit about Bitcoin. And then I got really angry. Then I destroyed my office. And I said, I'm going to open my own exchange right next to them. And so I went down there. I found this incredible space right next to 100 feet from the New York Stock Exchange. And it was pretty incredible. It was huge. I don't know, 6,000 plus square feet with 30-foot ceilings. And I went, I said, I wanted to rent it. And I got the guy. And I talked to him. He wanted, I don't even want to tell you, but back then it was a lot of money that, I converted to pay in fiat.
Oh, wow.
And I don't want to see the amount. There's a lot of eyes watching. So I opened it up. I had no license. I had nothing. I just, and then everyone told me, my lawyers and stuff said, well, you can't facilitate an exchange without an exchange license. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't do this. You can't do that. I said, well, what the fuck can I do if I can't do it? I'm going to do it anyway. I don't give a shit. And so the way I stayed safe is I didn't charge anybody.
Right.
I even bought the booze and the food and got pretty girls to stand in front of the stock market, grab all those traders when they got off of work.
Public space where people can meet up.
We were trading out in front of the stock market, and then they'd come over and get interested because we had pretty girls too. I used to be in the nightclub business before too.
Oh, yeah.
So then we take them to the Bitcoin Center, and we had open pit trading, and people would trade with each other. And I gave them free Bitcoin so they could trade, get them engaged, and it was a pretty good thing. Paid a lot for PR. We had all types of PR every news, because at the time, after we opened, after a bit, then we had like Silk Road, negative news, Mount Gox, negative news, China throws Bitcoin out of China, right? The government of China throws it out. So all these dominoes were crushing Bitcoin, and I was trying to lift Bitcoin in a way that it wouldn't affect, these things wouldn't totally obliterate Bitcoin, while fighting the Department of Financial Services. They created the BIT license because of me, because they couldn't shut me down.
Yes, that's what we're talking about.
Ugh. Yeah.
You are the man. You are the man, man. Oh my God. I've respected you for so many years, and it means a lot that you're interested in Monero. You know a lot about Monero. How do we we need to do this now for Monero in New York? Does Monero need its Bitcoin center moment in New York?
Well, last time 10 guys said that they were gonna, chip in, but they ended up like disappearing. They didn't chip in, and it ended up being me because I said I was gonna do it. And I have this problem that if I say I'm gonna do it, I have to do it. It burns me up, and so I'm not gonna say that I want to open up again, even in the same space, and call it the Monero Center. But if I have enough people helping out, we should just do it, and we'll deal with whatever the fuck they want to throw at me again. I mean, I don't know what more they can do to me. They've taken real estate from me. They've done a lot, and I don't give a fuck. I mean, come get me. So I think, we open a Monero, because right now, what are you going to do? Sell Bitcoin? It's not, it's not risky enough for me. It doesn't feel, I got to do something risque. I mean, either sell crack on the corner or sell Monero next to the stock market. I think we should do it. I really do.
We are going to. When these forces combined, I'm telling you, man, you do not. All right, you heard it, guys. Monero Center in New York City, in Manhattan, maybe Brooklyn.
No, right.
How about in Astoria?
Get the fuck out of here.
there's a supermarket in Astoria that will accept Monero right now.
Which one? Which supermarket?
I don't have the name offhand. I could show you, but the guy will accept Monero. He's a Monero guy.
Well, everyone should accept that. I mean, Bitcoin's pretty fucked right now with the ETF. You know, this guy, and I know so much. You want me to tell you what I know?
If that's up to you.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. What are you gonna do? What are they gonna do to me that they haven't already done to me? What's Castro?
They can't take your Monero. You already lost it all in that boating accident.
I don't even know if I never even had any. So I don't know what you're talking about. So Bitcoin, you know, BlackRock coming on Bitcoin, everyone's happy, you know, the price went up and all that shit. But what are they doing? They're just squirreling away all the Bitcoin. If you read the fine print on the ETF paper that, you know, that people agree to by buying their ETFs, they can move it into any fork. They can move it into anything they want at any time without any permission. So if there's a fork that's like proof of work that they can give nodes to Bank of America and all the Federal Reserve member banks are the only ones who get a node. Oh, but we're going to, you know, we'll just stay on our fork, right? Yeah, but what if they sell their 1.2 million Bitcoin Classic, I don't know, real Bitcoin in one day, and everyone jumps off of it, and then they move that money into the new proof of stake Bitcoin, you know, and then they convince all the regulated companies that have Bitcoin now, you know, like PayPal and everyone else, all those guys, that they're the real Bitcoin. What's going to happen? I mean, it's going to be they're going to fuck us. And I think that's where they're going. This guy Fink a couple days ago went and is convincing states to put part of their funds in Bitcoin. And I think they're using, you know, Bitcoin as a Trojan horse, and they're going to co-opt Bitcoin. And I'll tell you why. Hamdan Azar, who is one of my co-founders at the Bitcoin Center, was a data scientist at BlackRock, and he was also Ron Paul's data scientist. I worked on Ron Paul's campaign and stuff, both of them, and Rand's and stuff. And I found him and made him data scientist and chief statistician. Very smart kid. He's old now. And so he knew the most about Bitcoin at BlackRock. He had meetings about Bitcoin. Then they say, oh, we're going to go into Bitcoin. We're going to create a working group within BlackRock. Hamdan, for some other database that he built, was praised by the COO 2 weeks before. And 2 days before they formed and met for the first time officially about Bitcoin, they fire Hamdan when they were praising him on stage for how smart he was and all the stuff he built. So curiously, out of the blue, they fire Hamdan Azar, and by Friday there's going to be a lawsuit out saying that, you know, they want to co-opt Bitcoin because why would they fire Hamdan when they praise him on stage? Because he's a believer. The Bitcoin he believes in is not the Bitcoin that they believe in. There's no other reason, because no one else knew more about Bitcoin in that building than Hamdan, and they knew it. But when they started thinking about what they were going to do with Bitcoin, maybe, then they had to get rid of him. And so he's the whistleblower, and you know, we got to support him and spread that news that everyone has to sell their ETFs and take self-custody of the Bitcoin, or else there'll be no Bitcoin. So, and we need the Monero next to the stock market.
Do you think Bitcoin still has a chance to kind of get people to use it correctly, use it custodially, to get out of being sucked into the state system, or is it like it already fell into the black hole?
Well, listen, we can't curse Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is why we're here. That's the gateway drug, and a small, tiny percentage of people that are smart enough find Monero, right? But we can't curse Bitcoin, and we can't let it get fucked like that, because then the adoption rate is going to drop, right? So Bitcoin is the gateway drug to us. So we have to help Bitcoin. That's why a guy tweeted, "Oh, Bitcoin's dead." Well, I can't say that Bitcoin's dead. It's not, because that's what's going to bring people to Monero, because they only know Bitcoin. So last night, a friend of mine, his wife wants him to buy Bitcoin, and I know this is an old guy. I know many years, and I was explaining to him hashing, and I was explaining to him all these things. And, he's not a technology, he's a boomer, ultra boomer. And he goes, "That's not money." I said, "Well, you can use 12 words and hide the words. That's not money." And I even showed him I showed him a bit bill, right? I didn't have a Cassatius on me, but I had a bit bill on me. And he goes, "That's not money." And then he pulls out a wad of hundreds. He goes, "That's money. That's money." And then I go, "All right, I gotta pull a generality thing so it can pull them in." I go, "You got PayPal?" To the wife. She said, "Yeah." I go, "Give me your PayPal." I hit the crypto button, right? You can buy Bitcoin on PayPal. And I said, "All right, yeah, I'm buying $10 worth of Bitcoin." The guy wants millions, right? But I want to get him off the digital and put him into the analog, right? So I want to break that wall. So I go, here, you own $10 worth of Bitcoin. And then he looks at it, he's like, "That's money." So he went from, "That's not money," when you're trying to explain, right, cryptography to him. That's not money. But if I showed him on PayPal, he goes, "That's money." So we need that moment where that guy gets to where that's money, and then they get to Monero. Some of them are going to get to Monero. You need that. And that's I come from politics and phone banking and all kinds of stuff where we convert people from maybes on the fence or even on the other side, right, with issues. It's, so it's persuasion. So I used a few laws of persuasion taken from the digital to the analog, and then I reduced it to the ridiculous is another strategy, and I got him to believe that Bitcoin's money by showing it to him on PayPal. You have to do that. Later, you can do more.
No, everybody needs to have that aha moment where they understand, that it's a bearer instrument. You're holding your own keys. It's really technically no different than holding a physical piece of gold or silver, right? And that's the mind-blowing thing that people can't wrap their heads around. And then with Monero, there's another level of abstraction, right? Because now you're saying, oh, and you can't see the transactions, and or tail emission is like another thing you got to explain to. Like it's even more abstract, and then people say, well, how do you audit it? You can't audit it. You can't see it all. It's just another level of abstraction. It's called encryption, right? It's obfuscated with encryption. Like if you trust the math that runs Bitcoin, you should trust the math and cryptography that allows you to audit Monero, right? So these levels of abstraction that people need to go to. And with Monero, it's a little bit more abstract than even Bitcoin, I'd say.
Well, the big hurdle is just getting them into Bitcoin first. So,
and what's worked really well is the number go up, buy Bitcoin and you'll become a millionaire. There's only 21 million and now everybody wants one. That simple, hack really made it viral.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what it is. So I think.
What do you think of the tail emission in Monero, right? Because that's something like people don't. They're like, oh, Bitcoin has a limited supply. Well, I was talking about in my talk today. That's not really what makes it valuable. Yes, but it's really more so that its emission curve, its supply schedule, is known and predictable and it's known that it won't be changed or manipulated. Whether it's 21 million Bitcoin or 1,000 Bitcoin, doesn't really matter. It's what matters is that the users can trust that the emission schedule will stay what it is. And then, in Monero, it has a tail emission. Are you familiar with those aspects of Monero?
Yeah, well, that's one reason why I didn't get into Monero real early, because I was with Fluffy Pony in 2014, early 2014, at Satoshi Round. I think it was the first Satoshi Roundtable meeting, and he's explaining it to me, and I go, "Oh, you mean it's not a fixed amount?" Nah, sorry. So I even was like, well, at that moment, I wasn't even the levels of the filters in my brain were filtering out everything that wasn't. Yeah, maybe, but no, we're filtering out everything that couldn't have inflation, any amount of inflation, right? I was like digital, right? I was like yes or no. I wasn't
Bitcoin has inflation. Right now it's inflating, right?
Well, but maybe, yeah. So it's the way it's explained. Yeah, but there's an end.
Right now
there's an end to it.
Right now there's less Monero than Bitcoin.
But there's an end to the 2014, 2140, right? We'll have the 21 million. So whatever. I was also a victim of that mental virus, and the brain is a terrible thing. Not just to waste, but it's just a terrible thing.
I think yours is treating you quite fine, though. Your brain has done amazing things for you. So how do we do it? How do we get rid of the bit license in New York? I feel like now is the time politically. You said, I ran for Congress in 2020. Sounds like I should have been talking to you at that. I should have been talking to you at that time. Yeah. Then it was then won by Anthony D'Esposito. If I would have ran again, I would have won that seat. It was the same time that George Santos was running is when I ran the first time. And we both lost. I actually did a little.
I got pictures of Santos.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, long story.
That was the only guy. I got pictures with Santos. That was the only guy I was excited about to get a picture with. I don't know why.
He's like a meme. He should do a meme coin. Does he have a meme coin yet? I have his number. I can text him. I don't want to go down that road. My point, what I'm trying to get to, we got Trump in the office. He passed that executive order, very pro-crypto the other day, kind of alluding to the right to transact, right? That was in there in that executive order. Is now the time to strike politically with Monero, try to lobby, try to get the next guy who runs for governor to put on his platform. If elected, he'll eliminate the bit license, things like that. I don't know. What, you're a political guy. What do you think?
Well, I don't even think they had the right to make the bit license. So yeah, there's a couple guys in the state, in the House in New York State that I've been talking to, and we're trying to figure out a strategy. And I think, of course, this is the right time, because that bit license was just some bullshit that this guy Losky made, so he could, and now he works for other crypto companies. Yeah, I wouldn't hire him. I mean, I would have had a easier time with the bit license. Spent millions of dollars trying to keep. They safe harbored me in, but all that was like a honey pot for me to give them all my information, and then they come after you with the information they got, and that's pretty much what they did. And after a few years, and then they wouldn't let me put up. I still build ATMs, Bitcoin ATMs, and I had one, and I had like 3 or 4, whatever. And at one point, I had one, and then they asked me, "How many do you have running at the moment?" I said, "Well, right now I only have one, because we updated the software, and we have one running." And then he's like, "Well, you can't put any more out unless you append the license, append your situation with the license." I was like, "What?" So I don't know what the heck they were doing. As a matter of fact, when I first walked in there into the DFS, there were 2 guys They looked exactly the same, like clones, bald head, no eyebrows, sunglasses. I thought I was like Neo in the fucking Matrix. And their business card had two totally different names. They weren't related. And they started barking at me for no reason. I was like, yo, what did I do? I was looking around. I go, yeah, we have the place up the street. Yeah, we know who you are. I was like, whoa. I started looking around. I go, holy shit. Is my mouth going to close now? I swear, that's what happened.
You stared into the light.
Holy shit.
Jesus Christ, man. But I do think now could be the right time to like strike. Maybe we could raise Monero, start a lobby fund. Like what do you think we need to do? Just talk.
Yeah. We need a lobby, and we need to start giving candidates and incumbents money. That's all. They're easy. They're cheap to buy. Really, they are. And we're going to hire the sleazy. So what happened was during the height of COVID, they had this thing called the UCC, right? Universal Commercial Code. It comes out of the Boston Universal Law Committee. And there's an update every year. And the update that 1 year during the height of COVID was only financial institutions can have a private key. And curiously, Elizabeth Warren's from up there, and her and the bankers are coming up with the same shit now. But this on the UCC, that's usually rubber stamped in every state, and they adopt it. It's for interstate commerce, right? So when I found that out, I freaked the fuck out. I hired the sleaziest lobbyists from over a dozen states, and we set up these Zoom meetings before they would rubber stamp that UCC. And I think it was South Dakota was a turning point because I said, well, your cows the owner of a cow might have to have a private key to be traded in certain exchanges with this new technology that everyone's using. The owners of cows will have a private key that proves that they own the cow. And if they go into blockchain trading software. But, if you pass this UCC, only banks can own your cows. And there's one guy say, what'd you say? This guy got up and said, what'd you say? I said, only the banks can own your cow. What the heck is going on here? What is that piece of paper? I ain't tell you. They don't sign this. Jesus. Tootin' hootin'. I don't know what the hell. That guy wouldn't stop. I was like, you see? Finally someone's understanding me here.
Where was that?
I think it was South Dakota. We got all the videos, yeah. We recorded those things. And then eventually they pulled it out of the UCC. But Warren's pushing to do the same thing. That's why I believe that with all these public companies owning mining equipment, right? Big miners are public companies now. And the little guys getting pushed out, especially how long it took for the pump to come up, for the price to go up after the halving, because they got paid half, right? A lot of them sold to public companies. Well, the public company's going to have to do what the government tells them, yeah. And I believe at one point they're going to say that, I don't know if it's going to be during this administration. Maybe we have a little leeway to fight this, right? Gave us 4 years, maybe, right? But after that, it's going to go. It might fall back. So we have to be very diligent, very quick. I think that they're going to whitelist the transactions in the mempool that are from financial institutions, and they're going to OFAC everyone who's not KYC or something, right? So then I see that happening, and I see that the thing with Hamdan, why they fired Hamdan, that BlackRock is going to fund more mining companies. So any of you sleazebags out there that love money and hate freedom or don't care about freedom, it's not in your mindset, you could probably raise a lot of money by making some bullshit mining company called BlackRock. They're probably pouring a lot of money into mining right now. So if you really hate humanity and want to end up in hell burning for the rest of eternity, call them up. They'll probably give you money and you can buy a new car and a fucking suit or some shit.
Shit, man. I mean, but that's what it really comes down to. That's what I was trying to talk about in my talk. The fact that Bitcoin has these attack vectors that makes it co-optable, where it can be co-opted. Do you think Monero has solved like most of those things? How can Monero? What do we need to think about in Monero so we don't get co-opted? And any other things you think we need to think about in Monero in terms of being more adversarial?
Well, you know, the price could be manipulated in Monero easier because maybe it's all happening out of one wallet, you know. But it's much better to, it has a better chance of not being co-opted, of course. And but the thing is the personal liberty of the transaction, and that, you know, it is for trade. It is to be used as a currency. It's not a store. You know, it's not like e-gold. You know, it's not like gold or whatever. It's a means of exchange. And cash, Monero is like cash. So you want to outlaw Monero, you got to outlaw cash because you have a bunch of dollars in your pocket. Where were they yesterday? You just got them at the bodega? You might have been up some stripper's ass with fucking cocaine all over. You know, you don't know where the fuck it's been. It's not bothering them now. Why does it bother them that they don't know where those bills have been? Maybe every cash register should have a built-in fucking scanner. I shouldn't give them the idea that scans a fucking serial number so everyone knows where every bill's been. You know, fuck you. Just because it has this technology, you're going to use it against us right away? The dollar doesn't do it. The dollar, you can't track the dollar. There was a website, Where's George, years ago, with some guy. Yeah. So Monero is like the dollar. And if you want to outlaw Monero, you got to outlaw the dollar because you don't know where it's been. Even the ones in your pocket, you don't know where it's been. Might have been some, you know, bestiality club or something.
Especially here in Miami.
Why don't you sniff it and see where it's been?
Thankfully, Monero doesn't come with the sniff technology. Odorama. Yeah, I mean, so that's the other thing. So bit license, and then do you think we ever get to this point in this country, maybe with the Trump administration? You know, this guy is doing amazing things right now, where he says, "Hey, we're gonna treat cryptocurrency equivalently to cash. We're not going to give it different rules." Do you think that's possible? I mean, that's the holy grail in my mind. So it's not a taxable event capital gains every time you spend it. There's no extra KYC AML requirements. You treat it like cash. You think that's possible to achieve?
Well, cash, they KYC if it's a certain amount of cash, right? Didn't Biden want $600?
Yes.
Biden took it from $9,000 when back then, when it became $9,000, you could probably buy a
like Venmo has to report now.
Buy a fucking Ferrari, or not a Ferrari, but you could buy a Mercedes back then when they came up with the $9,000. So they devalued the fucking currency, and then also Biden doesn't want you spending $600, which right now you go to a fancy dinner with a few friends, it's fucking $600, right? He wants to know where you got your dinner money from. You know what I'm saying? So if we can explain it in the right way, that I think, hopefully he would do something like that. That'd be the most incredible thing. I mean, he's banned CBDCs. I don't know. Listen, this guy, his son said that he really appreciated Bitcoin when he got debanked after January 6th. Trump got debanked after January 6th. And that's when he went wild mentally on what Bitcoin is.
How do we get you sitting down with Trump in a Greek restaurant in Astoria talking crypto policy?
Yeah, I know a few people up there, yeah.
Are you hearing good things like within the administration, the people that are calling the shots? Like, is this conceivable? Like, we can continue to get wins?
Yeah, I mean, we just thought of it. Yeah. So, I know a lot of people. As a matter of fact, in 2016, his first hire, George Zizikos, is my partner still in an political advance company. I know a lot of people there. So I have a lot of access, and I think if it was presented the right way, sure, why not? I mean, I think that's what it should be. for Monero to clear, but just in general, the evildoers were imposing all this crazy shit on us, and Trump looks like he's doing the right thing. You know, people might not like him or this or that, but whatever. You gotta love the guy for what he's done so far, especially with the CBDC. Like, he's putting his life on the line, and you know what? He even took a bullet to his fucking ear. You know, the last time someone went against the Fed was Kennedy, and they didn't miss. You know, they had multiple shooters, and they blew his brains out. You know, so we're lucky this guy escaped the bullet and pissed him off. We're lucky he has, you know, this big giant ego, because that's what's keeping him on the straight and narrow. Everything, like the stars are aligned. Some people can say, oh, but you can say whatever the fuck you want, but this would have never happened in 50 years if it wasn't for Trump. I know he's not a politician. You know what I mean? All these politicians owe everybody everything. I've worked in politics for 40 years, and I think we're very lucky. I can't believe I'm even saying this, because, you know, he was saying stuff against Ron in 2012, and he goes, oh, I know how to do it. And we were like, at CPAC, we booed him off the stage and stuff. But I think he learned a lot from Ron, because Ron Paul I'm talking about, he's you know, taking down the Department of Education. He's trying to, you know, all of a sudden everyone's using the policies, the tax on tips we invented. In 07, we did bar crawls and handed out cards, no tax on tips. Like everything, not everything, but everything everyone loves originally came from Ron's mouth. So what am I going to do? I got to love this other guy too, a little bit for now.
No, I mean, and he freed Ross.
Yeah, right away.
That was huge.
Who the fuck would do that? Nobody.
Now, I do think that the ultimate litmus test, though, of like if he's a real Liberty guy or not, is where things end up going with untraceable digital cash. Do we see that be the exception? Like, we got to see what the policies they start to, you know, do things get, you know, like, yeah. Except for we can't, you know, we need to make sure people aren't using this for crime. He hasn't crossed that threshold yet. We'll have to see. Like, I don't know. In my mind, that's the real test.
That's why. I think that's why we have to compare it to real cash, you know, not real cash, dollar cash, fiat cash, that, you know, it's not traceable. So if we can make that simile, then we have a chance to create a neuro association to that and be able to pass a finish line with it, I believe.
And I'm sure Trump really appreciates the utility of cash, right? I mean, he knows New York guy. He knows the functionality of cash, what can be achieved with cash. He knows cash is effectively going to go away, physical cash at some point, and that we need a replacement in the digital age. And if we don't have a utility that provides that, slavery seems inevitable at that point, right? I mean, dystopia, right? If we don't have a cash utility for the digital age, we're screwed.
Yeah, like, so Bitcoin's supposed to be non-fungible. I mean, oh my God. Fungible. But if they can trace it and they know exactly what it did, where, you know, it's fungible. It's non-fungible, right?
Yeah.
So Monero is fungible. Bitcoin is non-fungible. You got this fucking guy from Denmark. What the hell is he called? Who built that chain analysis? I remember I had a guy, we started the Nordic Blockchain Association back in 2014. And with Peter Mickelson. And he goes, oh, the guy who's going to start this chain analysis is here. I go, what does it do? He's like, oh, they track the Bitcoin, so we know where the Bitcoin can. I go, what? I go, where is it? We're at a rooftop bar in New York. And I was like, where's that motherfucker? I'm gonna throw him off the roof. But he wouldn't introduce me to him after that.
So he lived to see another day. I mean, I wait, Tux. So I guess we'll transition to something else at some point, or do we have Bawdy for?
Nobody else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nobody else is backstage. So did Bawdy respond at all? No, that's fine. Yeah, we'll just keep going. Yeah. No. So I just want to, we'll just finish off. Yeah, CBC. Yeah, of course. Yeah, if you want to line up at the next person. Yeah. Yeah. Just give Nick a he wants to go back to chilling with everybody.
Adam.
Yeah, find somebody. It's all right.
Adam.
Can we see if Dan was
No pressure, man. No pressure. No.
We built a phone app.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
On WebRTC app.
Tux, do you want to do some interviewing? Do you want to jump in and do some interviewing at some point? Yeah. You want it? Yeah. Yes. I'm sorry. Yes, this will be good. Nick, brother. So wait, I just want to finish off with yes. Monero in New York, cash in New York. People enjoy, like, you go to any Chinese restaurant, they're still accepting cash in New York, right? Like, they're a lot of them are cash only. Do you think we can make it where it makes sense in their mind? New Yorkers on a daily, these places where they'd want to accept Monero. Like, how do we get over that? Where obviously you and I, we see the value in it. How do we get to the point where it's working well enough where, my local Chinese restaurant is preferring Monero because it just works for them. It's easy.
You can make tablet, with what's it called? A POS system that has Bitcoin and Monero. This way you get in the door with the Bitcoin, and then what's the Monero do, right? So you use Bitcoin as the gateway drug, and then put the Monero sign on there too. And I think that'll be the fastest way because you don't even have Bitcoin in those stores. So everyone heard of Bitcoin, but they didn't hear. But by the time you say Monero, they have to figure out if it's legit. They know Bitcoin's legit, They know Bitcoin's legit now, right? So, but you put the two logos on the tablet, and that's it. Then you're gonna have adoption.
You know how to market, my friend. It's actually not a bad idea. We are thinking of things in that area. I mean, so somebody needs to figure out how to make a slick POS that also just integrates with the POS systems they're already using, right? A lot of these people are already using their own, and you just need to be able to integrate. But we'll get there.
You see a lot of stores just add the other thing. Exactly. No, they have another doohickey on the counter. Yeah, so they have APIs.
Maybe we could talk about it, man. Maybe we spark up more functional Monero meetups in New York. Like I used to do them with Vic a little bit, but maybe we could ramp those up.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, man. Nick, thank you for your time, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. Greatly appreciate it. And I think we'll get. Yeah, we're gonna do. We'll do the price report. We have somebody that's remotely. It's the same shit. There's the report. Report's over. Nothing's changed. It's easy to report price in Monero. Nick, let me ask you that. When will Monero pump? What has to happen to see a Monero pump? Do we want to see a Monero pump?
You're gonna see. Yeah, that's it.
If you
So I
want.
don't have to move the camera. When will Monero pump? Well, for sure it'll pump when if and when it's not if but when BlackRock pulls a flim flam, pulls an Aladdin, because you gotta be weary of a company that names their software Aladdin, because for sure they're thinking about a rug pull.
Do you think we see Monero get listed on Coinbase? If we get rid of the bit license, maybe Kraken comes into New York. Okay. What do you think of that?
Listen, we got to go right to the top. This guy with a tweet changed the world. He launched his own tokens.
What do you think of that?
That was the shot heard around the world. I'm getting calls because I've visited over 80 countries pitching Bitcoin over the years, and I'm getting phone calls from everybody right now. So it legitimized us. It legitimized crypto. The President of the United States of America, the President of the United States of America launched. He changed his inaugural ball to a fucking meme coin launch party of his own. I mean, you guys, I don't know who the fuck thinks, I don't know what you guys are thinking, but this motherfucker. I mean, one of the inaugural balls, I was sitting next to Nelson Mandela. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was very serious shit, right? This one, motherfucker launches his own meme coin and his wife's meme coin thereafter during his inaugural ball. We're talking about the President of the United States. I don't know if you guys smoking too much pot or whatever the fuck you're doing, but the floodgates are over. Every motherfucker in the world's thinking about a coin right now. Okay? You guys were special. You're not special anymore. Everyone's thinking about it. So with one move of his, you see the guy. He's using his Thanos. That's Thanos right there, man. Holy shit.
But is that Thanos in the wrong direction? Because now you're pulling people into some fucking meme coin. But is it good? Because you just pull them into the crypto space and then they find their way to the real shit.
Listen. Yeah, it's a meme. Listen. I went to Wall Street because I knew the greed. Well, us libertarians, we're like, these guys stole, so I'm not even going to say anything because I don't want to bring the value down. They stole my Bitcoin. I'm not going to say anything because I don't want Bitcoin's price to go down. I want people to believe, right? That was us in the early days. It was only libertarians, and we were believing in the experiment. This was the experiment and our ethos. But I said to myself, well, that's not how the world's going to adopt quickly, because I came up with a lot of stuff early, and my mistake was I was too early. Like I built getaroom.com and No More Hotels, which was like the first Airbnb in '95, and I couldn't even get a merchant bank account because no one even knew what the hell it was. I says, "Oh, people gonna sleep in other people's houses and apartments." I go, "In the same bed? Where are they gonna sleep?" I'm like, "This is me trying to get a merchant bank account, right?" So I've been through that, and then I had the livery cab, which was the first Uber, but it used SMS because no one had a smartphone. Whatever. So the adoption rate was very slow. So I said, this time I'm going to open right in their face, right in the fucking snake den, and be what it may. I'm going to, whatever they do, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to get paid big money. I got Bush's former speechwriter as communications director. I mean, I spent a lot of money to make sure that we got the media that we needed to thwart all the attacks. Those guys were ready to put us down. They had them all ready. They had Shrem. They had Silk Road. The Chinese, like they were just coming at us, boom, 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 and I had to fucking fight back. So I think, what was the question?
I don't even remember.
So whatever. The meme coin. So this guy just doing that has opened up the minds of all these people.
It's good for the
that's what it was. It was like, what are we gonna do? Wait for them to like come up with something with the 7 think tanks and the Price Waterhouse, Cooper, PwC, and all these fucking assholes try to make it intricate to get into the space so they can make money to help you navigate the fucking obstacle course that they built, and put things in there that they only understand so they can make money off us like fucking transactional parasite sleaze bags. No, the motherfucker launched a meme coin. Okay? Next to Satoshi, it's Trump, I think. I'm serious. Next to Satoshi, I think it's number 2.
That's
Look, the proof is in the pudding. I don't believe shit, right? But I don't see what people say. I see what they do. I don't care. Everyone says shit. I ran the largest nightclub in the world when I was 26. I got pitched every night, 100 times by every fucking idiot. You know what I'm saying? What do you do? I don't care what you say. Show me what you do. And he showed us what he did. So I don't know what anyone can say bad about this person.
Trump has Thanos. All right, brother. Thank you so much, man. All right. Amazing. I hope everybody here watching appreciates who that was and, you know, what we just heard there. That was amazing. All right, so we have Bawdy, and Bawdy's gonna. So go ahead and launch it. Did you launch it? We're gonna do price report, guys. Hang tight, and then maybe we'll do more interviews.
The Monerotopia Price Report segment is sponsored by Exolix, a privacy-focused, non-custodial instant crypto exchange. Go to exolix.com to enjoy secure and completely anonymous swaps with no KYC or sign-up. Swap between Monero and 2,000 plus assets at the most competitive rates and with no limits. Exolix.com, your fast and secure way to privacy.
Hello, Bawdy.
Hello. How you doing, bro?
I can hear you.
Excellent.
All right, so let me see if I can fix your display here.
That's a nice
There
little
we
bit of genius there with your phone and the microphone. I like it.
It's kind of a weird setup.
So should I just roll?
Yep, just go ahead.
Cool. Yeah, I see the charts up here. All right, guys, we'll try and keep this short. I know that you know, you guys are at a conference and probably have people have stuff to do. All right, so we're looking here at the Monero price. Obviously, this is the daily candles, and things are looking good, guys. This is obviously looking towards the upside. We are slowly, continuously pressing towards this upside here, which again coincides with those very long-term standard deviations that have bound price for something like 2 years now. So it might not necessarily break immediately, although it could. I think in general, we're looking at positivity in the crypto markets. So what we're really looking at is either to break this soon, or maybe we got to do some of this and, you know, another little bit of pullback. But right now, this is setting up for sometime in the next, let's just say 0 to 4 weeks, this thing should break towards the upside. At least from a technical analysis perspective. I know how many of you are just in love with technical analysis to the same degree that I am. But yeah, so we're looking all right on the Monero price. You can't complain about hanging out in the 220 area, especially when not that long ago we were hanging out in the 150 area for a very, very long time. So yeah, hopefully soon we're going to reestablish some sort of higher normalized stablecoin price. This is effectively what I would expect. Realistically, what I expect is some major push towards the upside. We might even like double tap that 500 area, you know, like the one that we hit in the last bull market. And it wouldn't surprise me to take some time to break that. You know, we might tag it, come to the top side, do something like this, right, at some point here. It could take the rest of the year, but I am looking for eventually Monero to like actually break out. Then at some point, we're going to have some very long consolidation period. That's just how we have to expect price to roll. It's very similar to the gold price. Let's take a look at the XMR BTC ratio. This line, which was previously kind of a support line, kind of broken down a little bit. Now it's becoming more of an average trend line, if you will. Hopefully we could just continue to oscillate around this line, but I wouldn't necessarily expect that because, you know, Bitcoin is still pretty strong. Yeah, there's no strategic Bitcoin reserve. It's not Bitcoin, it's crypto. That's really what it is. And Trump has said that numerous times. I don't know if any of you guys saw this, but there was an executive order where Trump created some working group on crypto. The number 2 point there was about stable coins. So it should be no surprise to us. He's like, no CBDC. And kind of as we've talked about for a long time, they're making concessions, but these are token concessions, because when he's like, no CBDC, it's like, yeah, they're just trying to capture that popular movement that nobody wants a CBDC. But the backdoor CBDCs have already been set up. It's Tether, it's Circle, you know, USDC. And they're going to track and surveil that way. They're going to have a nice, warm, welcoming, open ecosystem for everybody. And then they're going to start to clamp the gates down slowly over time after the network effects have been captured there. Not too unlike what's happened with Bitcoin, where you can't actually use it very well for cash unless you just want to go spend a bunch of time learning how to do Lightning Network in a sovereign way. Nobody does that. Most of them just use it custodially, or they hand all their their privacy information away to some Lightning service provider. Anyways, the point on that is that yeah, well, there's like just a general broad bullish kind of thing going on here in the crypto movement at the moment. Privacy coins, let's skip the privacy coins. Maybe we could talk a little bit really quick. Xano has had a big pullback here. How much is that? That's about 35% from the top. Yeah, so Xano's had a pretty big pullback. Let's go down to the 4-hour and see where the wave magic are telling us that supports should be found. Realistically, this should be some kind of support, at least for some interim moment. You'll notice again, we've got the bands, right? What we really kind of expect is not to just break down immediately to go towards the big obvious areas, which would be down there. We would kind of expect a little bit of oscillation here first, and then maybe it might break down, or maybe it'll break to the top side, right? Wave magic at this point wouldn't exactly tell you that it's breaking towards the top or the bottom. Right now, this doesn't look like the best pattern, but you know, yeah, we won't dwell too long on this. I have more things I could speculate about the Xano price. Everything else here on the privacy coin space is just kind of like flat, not doing much. Whereas Monero seems to be pushing the upside, as we talked about, right, where it's sort of moving towards the upside of its local highs. The rest of these privacy coins all seem to be kind of moving towards the downside of their previous local highs, which that shouldn't surprise us too much. I don't really believe that these privacy coins have a whole lot of actual volume or support or organic buying in the way that Monero does. So a lot of this volatility, I think, is easily induced by people who, you know, want to kind of push price around and make a buck or a few bucks off of what's, you know, off the volatility that's happening. So right now you can see Bitcoin is basically for the past week been reducing its volatility. We're on the 30-minute chart. Let's actually go out a little bit higher to the bird's eye view. I always like to start with the bird's eye view and then drill down to the smaller time frames. I think in general that's a better way to learn, but specifically for price, I prefer to do that. So in general, what you can see, again, we talked about this. We had a nice big movement towards the upside. These purple bands, again, this is what I call wave magic, because it's just magic how price came immediately to that purple band. And then that's where it started having problems with price. It kind of tried to move up a little bit, and it kind of, you know, it's really taking a longer time to get there. So right now at the moment, you can see that, let's drop down here to the 2-hour. You can see that Bitcoin is still effectively exploring the standard deviation bands, right? These blue bands and the orange bands. We're on the top side of them, and this is why I say things look bullish from a technical perspective on the Bitcoin chart. It definitely is the case that effectively what you can see, Bitcoin is now trying to get above the shorter term upper standard deviation bands. It's kind of riding in there. This is the kind of chart that you expect at some point should want to try and push towards the upside again. And it could be one of these situations where it's just mildly positive for some period of time. That wouldn't be an unsurprising pattern. I'm not exactly predicting that. But one thing I really kind of did want to point out to you guys is that after coming here from this sort of fake out bottom down here, this was definitely a fake out. And after those wicks finished and you got back into these orange bands, you kind of knew that was a fake out, and you really could have taken along there. Anyways, the point is that yeah, it had a nice big run up here, and then you've got this big volatility, and then you can see the volatility is starting to squeeze. Part of that is because the weekend hit, right? So the past couple of days, you know, weekends tend to have a little bit less volatility. Don't make me prove that here on the stream right now. Maybe I could prove it some other time, but generally speaking, right? Other markets are closed. The big finance bros have gone home, you know, so like a lot of times, sometimes weekends can have even more volatility if some big news comes out, right? Because the liquidity is a bit lower on the weekend. So if there's a bunch of big movements happening on the weekend, then you could have higher volatility. But right now, there's not a huge whole bunch of stuff, you know, happening over the weekend. Anyways, volatility has dropped off. You know, that's kind of a sign that, hey, you could probably expect this thing to start moving one direction or the other. Yeah, so I would expect that we're still looking at some kind of bullish scenario here, generally speaking, in the crypto markets. Bitcoin dominance has managed to hang on, guys. I don't really know how or why exactly, but it is managing just barely to hang on. But again, we had the Trump coin. He's a crypto president, not a Bitcoin president. It's hilarious to watch the fucking maxis lose their shit over this, you know, and they deserve it. They were like, oh, but my Trump presidency, and vote for Trump because he's going to have the Bitcoin strategic reserve and all this other stuff. And it's like, you know, they're like, they thought, you know, he did a good job, right? He tricked them. He said just enough to fucking tantalize their nipples. And they were like, yeah, it's Trump, you know? And so they just like, oh, they did all the sexual innuendos that we could make there regarding their savior, and then he rugged them with his Trump coin and then Melania coin. So yeah, I think that shit's fucking hilarious. But again, still somehow Bitcoin dominance is managing to actually do pretty good. I mean, it's still right. Let's take a look here. It's still within a few percent. That would be 4% of its recent all-time high. And it did manage to get back into this channel here after a period of time. I still think there's a good chance that altcoin season is coming. Maybe it's never coming. I don't know, guys. It's possible. There's a lot of altcoins out there competing for attention. In a more general sense, right, here's the larger market cap altcoins. And everything's just kind of like, trailing sideways, basically. Nothing really major happening here. Link seems to be at the top of that. We've talked about Link before. I say, hey, a lot of times Link will go first. You'll see Link smash towards the upside, and that's a good sign that the rest of the crypto market's about to follow. I think that's because they run the oracles. Link is sort of tied into a bunch of different contracts platforms. And I think that's a reason, like they're moving money, they're making bets, they're placing bets. And so Link ends up with a big boost in market cap as money starts moving and rotating into other parts of crypto. So we'll be looking for that. If you see Link starting to smash towards the upside, that's probably a good sign that we're going to be looking at the next leg up here in this bull market. Right now, ETH BTC, I wanted to cover this because we are getting very close to these very long-term lines. In fact, we could even go to the weekly to make this a little bit more clear. ETH is now, right, this was like the 2017 bull market. This was the 2021 bull market. And you can see these massive, very long-term standard deviation bands that have been compressing, right? These bands are actually now compressing. And so this right here is an extremely obvious area. If you hypothetically wanted to play the ratio on ETH versus BTC, this is a very obvious area to expect some kind of support. ETH is kind of at max FUD at the moment. I really would expect that this thing should come towards the upside. The way that this is formed now, the way that these bands have formed, it's going to take some really big doing to get out of this band structure now at this point. I mean, it did try to crush it once there. It was unable. It has now made a massive slide back to the downside. It's going to make another attempt probably in the bull market to get there. The chances of ETH actually gaining market cap parity with Bitcoin are slipping away. So my call is going to be, perhaps my call there, I'm going to have to eat those words. But that's fine. I kind of did want to see, the flippening memes start to get loaded, but maybe that's just not going to happen. Anyways, in a real sense, I do expect that ETH is at least going to try and challenge the upper side of these bands here at some point. And hypothetically, if the government leans in hard on stablecoins, right? If they go in hard on Tether and USDC, there could be a good chance that ETH actually benefits from that sum. So anyways, that's just something to point out there. I always do this out of order. I don't know why, but here's the Monero transaction still oscillating around 30,000 roundabouts. So yeah. You know what? We had a super chat here. Harold Bishop tipped 25 cents. He says the Monero chart is looking bullish. Indeed it is, sir. Yes, indeed it is. Thank you for the tip. So here's our transactions oscillating around 30,000. Come on, guys, let's buy those drugs on the dark web and get these transactions up to like 40,000, 50,000. Just kidding. Don't do drugs, kids. It's bad for you. Drugs are bad. All right. Here's the macro. We'll talk about the macro and then we'll call it a day. So Dixie is taking a little bit of a break. Here's another kind of corroborating point on the whole, tea leaves, technical analysis, astrology for dudes. We're corroborating what charts are saying. And one of the corroborations here would be that, wow, that looks awfully like a little bit of an interim peak there. In fact, you might want to call that a little bit of a head and shoulders even. It's a little itty bitty head and shoulders. So we'd be looking at about right here for the stopping point. If we're going to say that, Dixie's going to take a break. But the fact that Dixie is now in a little bit of a short-term downtrend could be some impetus, right? That could provide a little bit of juice for the markets to make their way towards the top side. So, it might be worth, I really need to get back into it a little bit more hardcore, but I need to look at the recent correlation or anti-correlation between Dixie and all the different assets. Because sometimes it oscillates in and out of being correlated and not correlated, but generally speaking, risk is anti-correlated to Dixie. Okay, whatever. Oil, we've talked a long time. Once the macro crash is going to happen, an imminent sign to us is that oil is crashing ahead of time. It's like it did this fake out, like, hey, we're going to pretend to beat this long-term capping resistance line right here, and then it got back down under it. So this line right here is a very long line that goes back to the previous bear market. So I guess kind of it makes sense. This is why I like to use both the pleb lines and the wave magic in tandem, because you'll notice here's the upper standard deviations, right? And it managed to beat the downtrending line for a moment and then touch those standard deviations, and now it's coming back towards the downside. So this thing getting back into this zone is just not good bullish action. I really do think that they're trying to stave off for as long as they can any macro crash. It would make sense, but I think they know it's coming, so they're going to try and like keep oil propped up and supported. Another price guy that I used to follow, not so much, he says oil is the lifeblood of the military industrial complex, and indeed it is. So they're going to try and keep that propped up for as long as they can, but at some point the demand destroying event will cause that to crash down for a period of time. Gold is doing good, guys. Gold has made a rebound, and so this is the daily chart, and we're basically sitting here really close to the all-time highs now. If we drop down here into the 4-hour, we can see a little bit better the standard deviation bands and how effectively, again, as we've talked about, right? You come up here, you set these bands, you set this band structure, and then you play around inside of it, right? Usually with decreasing volatility. And then finally, once these bands start to curl towards the upside, that's your sign that the bull market is about to commence. And so, or that at least another leg up is about to commence. I don't want to get ahead of myself there, get too excited, but yeah, gold here is effectively now above those bands. They're curling up. It's got room to run here towards these purple bands again. So yeah, we could be seeing another big leg up in gold. I don't know exactly how high this thing could go or is going to go. But yeah, I mean, at the moment, definitely looking good. Okay, yeah, so that's what gold looks like. Reverse repos, not doing anything, just hanging here down at the bottom. There's $100 billion left in reverse repos that could hypothetically go into risk. So there's still a little bit of juice to squeeze. That doesn't have to happen, right? Reverse repos don't necessarily have to drop to the 0 point. They might, they don't have to. Right now, obviously, the trend is down. But if we see reverse repos coming up here and then starting to break out of these orange bands, finally, these will become like relevant for us. If we see something like that, that's another good sign. Hey guys, that the bull market's going to be over, right? That's we'll be looking at that kind of stuff to sort of corroborate our top call. Obviously, ideally, we'd like to see the Bitcoin price hit the upper regression boundary, which currently sits at about $170,000. Let's see. There's going to be a Fed meeting next week. They're probably not going to raise rates because markets are going fucking crazy. So here's the S&P 500. S&P 500 set new all-time highs this week. It's still like, so remember, this line is the 1929 blow-off top line. We draw this line because it goes all the way back 100 years. So we're basically like at just levels of liquidity and market expansion that rival 1929. But they know the system way better. They've developed their Keynesian theories over a long period of time. They've gotten way better at it. So who's to say that they can't keep that going, that this line can't get broken? The S&P is actually, and the NASDAQ are extremely, extremely exponential. And it's funny because you wouldn't think so, because they go up so steadily, but they go up way more than steadily. It looks like it goes up steadily, but when you really do the analysis, you start realizing, holy fuck, this is really, really exponential. So you kind of have to I've had to invent some statistical tools even just to track the way that those markets respond or behave. So anyways, the point is that S&P is doing good. Let's just go ahead and leave that behind. We'll talk about bonds really quick. Let's go to boring bonds. So bonds have done a little peak. They've come back down to the downside. I don't know where these are going, guys. Again, we're looking for lots of volatility in the bond market as a signal that things are about to crash. I wouldn't call this excessive volatility in the bond market. I would call this normal volatility. But this is a pattern that we've seen, right? The Fed is lowering rates where suddenly the long end of the curve starts to correct and spikes up above the Fed rates finally. And then at some point, when this curve has become uninverted enough and then starts to become really uninverted, and then everything starts to crash towards the downside. That's the pattern we're looking for. Maybe like the handlers, the Keynesian economists, maybe they know the pattern so well now that they're just like, no, we're going to pull a different pattern on the plebs this time. It's possible, right? But anyways, I have to believe that the bond market is such a massive, massive part of the economy and the way everything and prices are oriented around it. I have to believe that it's just communicating something far more fundamental about the economy and the patterns that we see going into these macro crashes. I really have to believe that this is the evidence of what's happening in the background, and that it's not just such a simple matter for them to say, oh, do the reverse this time. I don't think that's the case, that they can do that. So anyways, just a little bit of, kind of open brainstorming speculation there for you guys on what I think about bonds and whatnot. Other than that, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here and hand the show back to Tux and Doug. Thank you very much for your time. Fokker, out.
Awesome. Thank you, Bawdy. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Tux.
As always.
See you next week. I guess he dropped out. All right. I'll have to carry the torch for a little bit until I see them pop back up on the feed. Let's see. Oh, we have another XMRchat. Your blind spot tip, 25 cents. He says, what's up with that XRP hype? Yeah, the XRP hype. Well, it's born out of the fact that they were one of the earliest coins. They're a 2014 coin, and the SEC just went hard into them, right? Like they tried to crush those guys, and then they won their case. And XRP sat out of the bull market last cycle for the most part because of all the uncertainty. Plus, there was all the new coins, right? Again, I tell you guys, it's the new coins that have the biggest potential. The stuff like Sol stole a lot of the thunder that happened there. So so they got a lot of that market cap. Sol actually stole a lot of the market cap from ETH. So yeah, the XRP hype. They seem to be working with the government, or I don't know, some shit. But anyways, yeah, expect the XRP hype to try and continue. Your blind spot. Thanks for the tip. Just calling out the super chats.
Appreciate it, Bawdy. I'm out in the streets of Miami right now.
Oh, nice.
Which is why I'm having trouble managing the stream. But yeah, I think we'll probably go ahead and end it here. I'm not in a position to run the news, unfortunately. But thanks, Bawdy, for covering that. And I guess you got the super chats already.
Yeah, I got the super chats. If you want me to cover the news, I can do it. I've got all the links. Or we can
only if you want to and you have time. But you're not. You don't have to.
Let's see. Well, yeah, I think I've got another 10 minutes here. Let me copy these. Can I copy these? Yeah. All right. So just I guess it's my stream is still pulled up. So I'm just going to copy these over, and we'll get into the news, and we'll just cover all the stories real quick. Let's see. Are you able to hang out and just do the news with me?
Yeah, I got you. I'll be on here.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and run the segment.
Cool.
The Monerotopia Weekly News segment is sponsored by WizardSwap.io, a non-custodial cryptocurrency exchange.
All right.
Sorry, still copying over some of these links. Let me go ahead and pull the first one up. Yeah, because I don't have what's it called on my desktop. All right, copy link. All right. I don't know if you can see it. If not, I'll read it out. All right, we have a tweet here from Thomas Massey, Representative Thomas Massey. He says, Ross Ulbricht has been freed by President Trump with a full pardon. Thank you for keeping your word to me and others who have been advocating for Ross's freedom, Mr. President. So Donald Trump actually gave not just the commutation of the sentence, but the full pardon. And that was actually unexpected. My guess, so there was a little bit of a delay, and people were kind of like getting nervous if he was going to actually, follow through, because he had freed all the January 6 people. Or allegedly they got freed. He said they should get freed, and they're still like dragging their feet. Maybe that's another news story. Anyways, but I think the delay was Trump trying to decide if he wanted to do the full pardon or just the commutation. But yeah, this is one I think we expected to actually happen. I couldn't see a reason why he wouldn't do it. It's a really good token gesture. I know I don't want to call it a token gesture, right? But it was a really good way to coalesce the libertarian crowd around him and keep that support. He's freed one man that was really important to all of us. So it's good to see that he did that. I think this was expected. Let's hope that he actually reforms the Department of Justice that led to this travesty in the first place, right? Let's hope that he guts the FBI and just completely reforms that criminal organization. I guess we'll just have to wait and see on that one. What do you think?
Yeah,
Chuck?
totally. That one was a really big win. And a lot of people were fudding because, like, okay, he didn't do it technically first day, but he got an upgrade though. It went from a commutation to a full pardon, which, I mean, that's an easy answer. You know, day 2 with a full pardon, that's totally worth it over day 1 commutation. Let's be honest. But yeah, I mean, you're right. It's like it didn't really make any sense for Trump not to. It's like, okay, Trump's not going to be able to run again, but he does care about his reputation quite a lot, and he made a straight up promise during the Libertarian Convention. So it was really an easy decision. But it was it was in a way like a gesture, a nice gesture for him to get a full pardon instead of just a commutation. That's a big deal. So yeah, definitely. Out of everything you could criticize Trump for, that's definitely a win for sure.
Yeah, and definitely, you know, congrats to Ross, congrats to his family and his mother who just like fought tirelessly to make that happen, and even just like congrats to everybody in the crypto space that made a big deal out of it, that made that a headline issue that the politicians felt like they had to address. Yeah, definitely a win there. That was a ridiculous over sentence. I mean, everybody knew it. So yeah, good stuff.
It was 2 life sentences plus 40 years, no parole. That's crazy, man. That's just insane.
It's just straight up psychopathic. So I saw someone just like crop out the plant here, and they were like, you can't just post a plant on the internet and expect people to recognize it. It's like everybody knew that was Ross's.
Oh yeah, we all immediately knew. Oh, that's Ross Ulbricht.
Looked suspiciously like marijuana leaves, but not a marijuana plant.
The Silk Road 2.0, but it only has like marijuana, which is pretty, mostly safe.
Yeah, I guess depending on what state he was locked up.
Depending on the state, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, another salute to Ross. Freedom at last. Let's see, what do we got next? We have. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear this. I don't think you're going to be able to hear it, but at least we have the words down there. Yeah. So this is Ross talking. Says I was doing life without parole and I was locked up for more than 11 years, but he let me out, and I'm a free man now. I'm obviously quoting here. So let it be known that Donald Trump is a man of his word. Thank you so much, President Trump, for giving me this amazing blessing. I'm so grateful to have my life back, to have my future back, and to have this second chance. This is such an important moment for me and my whole family. It's an important moment for everybody who's been working for this for years. This is a victory, and it's your victory too. And this is an important moment for everybody everywhere who loves freedom and who cares about second chances. So it feels amazing to be free, to say the least. It's overwhelming. And for the next however long we need, I'm going to be with my family so that we can reunite and be whole again and heal. But there's a lot to talk about, and I look forward to re-engaging with the free world. And so once I'm feeling up to it, we'll talk again. So that was Ross directly addressing everybody. That's great. It's, again, I don't know how many streamers are on here, but, like we said, like both Tux and I said on Twitter, take a chill pill, everybody. Don't try and get him on your show right away. Don't inundate him with requests. Just let bro chill. He'll come out again and start sending tweets and talking to the world when he's ready to talk to the world. He doesn't need us like poking and prodding him, trying to get him to support our fucking coin or whatever it is, even if it's the best coin, which it is. Obviously, we have the best coin here. Nevertheless, let him say that. All right, let's not poke and prod him to get him to say that.
Yeah, I mean, Buddy's been in jail for 11 years, and I mean, that's got to be like incredibly soul crushing to assume most of the time he would be in there for the rest of his life. And it's like he went from life sentence to instant like freedom relatively, which is crazy. So I would imagine it would take you quite a long while to readjust to that. But yeah, he'll come out at some point.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, all the libertarian bros are at each other's necks. Whose podcast is he going to get on first? It's kind of funny to see, but it's kind of sad.
Yeah, it's like, it's annoying. It's like, God, in a way, good. Let the people who want to try and do that and reveal who they really are, like reveal what they're like, because it just shows that they're selfish. They're all about themselves. If they're sitting there trying to like jockey to get Ross, to be the first podcast or whatever. But yeah, man, I know for like personally, I was just trying to like put myself into that mentality. The odds of you getting a Supreme Court review are extremely low, and they rejected that. And then the odds of getting a presidential pardon are even lower than that. And so you're like, suddenly this comes up and you're like, holy shit, I can barely at all put myself into like that sort of empathetic, like what must that feel like? But it's got to be an incredible set of emotions for sure. Okay. So the next story that we have is from Anna Matson. And she says, here we go. Here's a thread on all of President Trump's executive orders he signed on the first day. Tell me your favorite at the end. So, okay, this might be a little bit of a doozy, but let's go ahead and try and unwrap this. Dang it. Hang on a second. I'm going to have to.
Oh, it's making you do yeah.
Yeah, hang on. Let me change my StreamYard over to my actual Twitter. And then I can are you able to switch the screens?
Yeah, let me check.
Because I
should be able to.
Okay, because I don't want to unpresent.
Yeah, you should be good to change it. Yep, go ahead.
Okay. Okay, should be sharing now.
All right. I see. Let's see. I see news, but it doesn't look like it has anything I can bring up.
Oh, let me try that again. Oh, it wants to know which screen. Yeah, share the window. Chromium tab. Why won't it let me share? Maybe it's because I have to accept the cookies. Yeah, sorry for the technical difficulties here, guys. All right, I think I got it this time.
All right, should be up.
Excellent. All right, so what were we at, Anna? Yeah, we were at Anna's post. Let's go to the end here. Okay, Anna Matson, Anna R. Matson. Okay, yeah, so here's our thread on all the executive agreements. I'm just going to read them out, but Tux, if you want to stop and like dwell on one, go ahead and shout out anytime that you want, please. So we're withdrawing from the Paris Agreement again. Cool, whatever. I guess that seems more like a token thing to me, but he's delivering emergency price relief. I hereby order the heads of all executive departments and agencies to deliver emergency price relief consistent with applicable law to American people and increase the prosperity of the American worker. I don't know what that means exactly. Price relief. Defeating the cost of living crisis. Okay. Yeah, that sounds more to me. That sounds kind of like yay, freedom or something. I don't know exactly what tangible measures are behind that, but here's one that I actually do like: hiring freeze, a temporary freeze of hiring until the Trump administration is fully in place. Additionally, within 90 days of the date of this memorandum, the director of the Office of Management and Budget, the OMB, in consultation with the director of the OPM and the administrator of the United States Doge Service, USDS, shall submit a plan to reduce the size of the federal government's working force through efficiency improvements and attrition. Okay. Maybe they can attrit the FBI and the IRS and the DOJ.
Well, that's sort of a good thing, but I got to say it is ironic that they're adding yet another government agency to reduce the government. It's like that XKCD comic where it's like, oh, we're going to make a single standard by making another one.
Yeah, exactly. Now there's 15 competing standards. Or like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where they build this like massive Earth-sized computer to answer what's the meaning of life, and then they produce the answer 42, and the computer's like, well, the problem is you didn't understand the question, so they had to build like another Earth-sized computer to determine the question. This is so stupid. Anyways, but hey, maybe it works out. I don't know. Okay. Regulatory freeze. Say maybe this is another good one. Do not propose or issue any rule in any manner, including by sending a rule to the Office of the Federal Register, the OFR, until a department or agency head appointed or designated by President Trump after noon on January 20th, 2025, reviews and approves the rule. Okay, yeah, I guess that's good. No more new rules. That sounds great. There's probably a lot of lingering assholes remaining in the bureaucratic deep state that are, they probably want to put as many rules as they can. They've also been hamstrung by the death of Chevron, which is like an amazing ruling. I can't even hardly believe that it happened.
That one was a big W.
Yeah, like so much of this shit is going to have to go back to the courts now, because the courts previously ruled, oh, well, we have to assume that the government's right. And now it's like, no, that's a bad ruling at this point, and a lot of stuff will have to get re-reviewed. So I'm okay with it. Let them tie everything up in the courts. Let everything come to a screeching halt, and then everyone else, it's a free for all, and they won't be able to catch back up. That's my, I guess, anarchist mental masturbation or whatever. Let's see. Next one. Return to in-person work. All right. All heads of all departments and agencies in the executive branch of government, as soon as practicable, shall take all necessary steps to terminate remote work arrangements and require employees to return to work in person at their respective duty stations. Duty stations on a full-time basis, provided that the department and agency heads shall make exemptions they deem necessary. Cool. End the weaponization in government. Attorney General, in consultation with the heads of all departments and agencies of the United States, shall take the appropriate action to review the activities and departments and agencies exercising civil or criminal enforcement authority of the United States. Well, that sounds very broad, and it sounds like the beginning of what you would want to see, of the end of lawfare, or at least the reduction of lawfare. It's difficult to think that the Pharisee lawyers will ever end their lawfare, but maybe this is for real, right? Let's see where that goes. I hope so. Restoring freedom of speech. It is the policy of the United States to secure the right of the American people to engage in constitutionally protected speech. Cool. I agree. Rescinding 78 Biden executive orders. Okay. I don't know which all they were, but I can't imagine any executive order by Biden was really all that great. Grant a full, complete, and unconditional pardon to all other individuals convicted of offenses related to events that occurred at or near the United States Capitol on January 6, 2021. Yeah, so he commutated and pardoned like basically all of them, but I saw some Project Veritas thing where they were still like screwing with those guys. Like they're like, no, we have to make sure to get all the paperwork, and some of them are still in the process of being filed against in prosecution. So we let some of them go, but we can't let all of them. And it was just like, oh my fucking god.
Oh, really?
Kidding me?
Yeah, that's the thing with commutation. I think there's usually strings attached, whereas a pardon's like you're free,
Oh, I see. Interesting. That's an interesting distinction. So if a commutation, they can still wrap you up in the process a little bit.
I think so, because you still technically have criminal charges.
I see. Huh. Maybe he should have just unconditionally pardoned them all if that's what he wanted to.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Grant a full and complete unconditional pardon to all of their individuals. Oh, we already had just reading the same one. Extending the TikTok deadline. Oh, thank God we can use TikTok still. I hereby order the Attorney General not to take any action on behalf of the United States to enforce the act for 75 days from the date of this order, to permit my administration an opportunity to determine the appropriate course of action with respect to TikTok. So you guys keep posting your DJ and videos and memes and hilarious shit and giving your data to China or Chinese corporations. Not that I think TikTok is great or anything, but hey, if you want to do that, then that's your right. That's your right as an American to give your data to China. At least that's what I believe. So hopefully they don't do anything stupid with that, because it's not about TikTok, right? It's obviously about the precedent being set here. And the worst thing is the ruling on this. That like worst of everything that could have happened here was the court making the ruling that, oh, well, China doesn't have free speech rights. Only Americans have constitutionally protected free speech rights. It's like, yeah, like the right to publish and the right to choose my publisher, even if it's a Chinese corporation. So they ran some real big mental hamster wheel, mental gymnastics to make that ruling, but whatever. Going to withdraw from the World Health Organization. Okay, cool. Yeah, we probably should do that. Killing all those health treaties, that's a good thing. Restoring accountability. Okay, let's be accountable, guys. Reinstate a previous executive order and adds employees in or applicants for schedule policy/career positions are not required to personally or politically support the current president or the policies of the current administration. They are required to faithfully implement administration policies to the best of their ability, consistent with their constitutional oath, and the vesting of executive authority solely in the president. Failure to do so is grounds for dismissal. Okay, yeah. So obey the president and also the Constitution. Sounds like. holding former officials accountable.
Oh,
for
there's
election
like so many of these, so we can probably go ahead and move to the next link because I gotta close it off
Okay.
pretty soon. My phone's about to die. Yeah, I think there's like literally like 80 replies, so they're just all of the executive. There's a lot.
Well, I imagine she put the top ones at the top, so yeah, we'll probably we got the best ones. A lot of those are starting to sound kind of vanilla, anyways. Like yeah, Americans have free speech. Cool, thanks for that.
Yeah, I will
Okay,
go ahead and mention a couple of the major ones, which was like protecting the ability of self-custody for crypto and protecting people who develop crypto projects that provide self-custody. So there were some really good crypto-related executive orders.
That's good. Yeah. So there was self-custody. There was a self-custody executive order.
Yes. Yep.
Oh, that
There
was
was
part-
one
that was
that
part of
did
the big-
mention self-hosted wallets. So
okay. God,
Yep.
I hate that term so much, but okay. I mean,
yeah, it makes
it's like-
self-custody makes more sense than self-hosted wallets, but it's effectively the same thing.
yeah. I mean, there's no such thing as a hosted wallet. It's called an account. Like you don't call your bank account my hosted wallet. Like that's such bullshit. Like you have an account with the bank. Like I don't have a hosted wallet with Fidelity for my stock trading. I have an account with Fidelity for trading stocks. Like it's just a made up term to completely, double speak or whatever. All right, onward we go. Elon Musk tweeted, Roger Ver gave up his U.S. Oh, this is good. Okay, from Elon Musk, right? Roger Ver gave up his U.S. citizenship. No pardon for Ver. Membership has its privileges. Oh, fuck you, Elon Musk. Wow, God damn. That's unfortunate.
That's messed up. Because like they went after him after he expatriated, so that's totally unfucking fair.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That is an interesting legal question. Does the president have the ability to pardon non-U.S. citizens for crimes that are being? I would assume that you do. Like, why wouldn't you? But
well, it's because the Irish statutes of limitations was like arbitrarily higher than like other things, so they went after him right before they weren't able to anymore. But like the charges are probably super bogus anyway.
Yeah,
I haven't looked into it too much, but it looks messed up.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, listen, guys, if you thought that he was jerking you around, you should have done this way longer ago, and you should have dealt with it in the moment. That statute of limitations itself is fucked up.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it could be the case. I mean, bro, like, do we really know? Do you and I really know the intricacies of corporate tax law on a new asset class? Where like, how do you have to declare it, and who exactly technically owns it, and and he probably it's knowing Roger a little bit, having followed him over the years. It's possible he might have tried to bend a few of the, uncross a couple T's, undot a couple lowercase J's. He might have like tried to do, finagle it a little bit, but still, like it's exactly like Ross. The over 100 years in prison, like just psychopathic to the core to even think that should be the outcome there. Okay, is Monero keeping Bitcoin cypherpunk dream alive? Yeah, I saw this one everywhere on Twitter. I actually didn't read the article, but I was like, yeah, obviously. And then I would just move on. Yeah, so do you want to talk about this one? Because I didn't read this article.
Can you read that heading again?
It's the Forbes article that says, is Monero keeping Bitcoin's cypherpunk dream alive?
Oh yeah, I saw this article. I read a little bit of it. It was kind of a cool shout out for Monero, essentially.
Yeah, and in Forbes. So I mean, we're getting the
like props to Forbes for making actually a decent article for essentially advertising Monero.
That's good. Yeah, maybe I should come through and read this article. I was just kind of like in my head, I was like, yeah, obviously.
I know. That's why I think I read it for a couple sentences, and then I'm like, oh yeah, it's like yes.
All right. Next, we have the Uncensored Library, the digital home of press freedom. There's a film that we could even play. Probably we don't have time for the film, and we're not going to hear the sound. But all right, there's something about Minecraft. So millions of players. Is there a way to make this go faster? Let's go on 2x speed, huh? Unlimited freedom, even in countries with no press freedom. Something about Iran and head coverings and Reporters Without Borders presents the Uncensored Library. Okay, I get it. Uncensored articles and uncensored books accessible for everyone, and even in oppressed countries. So it looks like basically Minecraft for books.
I've actually seen this. I think I've seen this before. Yeah, it's literally a Minecraft server that provides a giant library of stuff. It's crazy.
That's really cool.
It is really cool. It's kind of a way to bypass, like restrictions of like, I guess, being able to get stuff normally online or not having access to material at an actual library. You can just join this Minecraft server, which is a fairly innocent thing.
Yeah, that's pretty, and it's also like just a really good way in a marketing sense to capture the imaginations of
very creative
of people. I saw someone in Minecraft, they built a CPU. Like they no shit built like the
using command blocks. Oh yeah, it's crazy.
Like, I mean, just mind blowing.
It's like a couple like kilohertz or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have much power, but who cares? Like, just the fact that someone took the time to do that is incredible. Okay, so here we have Eric Trump confirms the U.S.-based crypto projects will benefit from zero capital gains tax. Okay, yeah, there's some problem going on with Michael Saylor that I read about where it's like, if you have profits over $1 billion, apparently the Biden administration implemented some kind of unrealized capital gains tax for which stocks are exempt, and I think bonds are exempt, but crypto is not exempt. So Michael Saylor's running into this massive tax bill for unrealized gains that he might have to pay. And so he's petitioning the IRS for some kind of exemption from it, but who knows how that's going to turn out. Maybe with Trump in office, maybe he'll fucking push, poke and prod the IRS and change out the leadership to force them to, I don't know, to take care of that problem. That'll actually be a pretty good litmus test in a lot of ways. Like if the IRS fucks over Michael Saylor, not that I like Michael Saylor, but if they go with the unrealized capitalized gains taxes here, and Trump could have done something about that, that's a very extremely obvious headline crypto thing that should be done. Like, no, crypto's part of that exemption. And it's only for profits over $1 billion. But anyways, so that's kind of related here to this headline. Sorry to deviate from the headline here, but yeah, I guess Eric Trump, his son, confirms that there's going to be zero capital gains taxes. Cool.
Interesting to see.
I don't have time to read the article, but yeah. I mean, I think that's our last one. Let me check one more time here. Did we get the Cointelegraph status? I think we did. Let me check this one more time. Okay. I guess we did miss this one. All right. This is the last one. Donald Trump signs an executive order to help make America the world capital of crypto. Cool. Let's be the capital of crypto, guys, because that's what crypto is all about, having capitals in states and whatnot.
Hopefully that doesn't mean owning all of the Bitcoin in all of the Bitcoin hash power and being able to fully censor the Bitcoin network.
Seriously.
It's definitely not what that means.
I mean, I don't know what the hash power breakdown is lately. I haven't checked, but the last time
I think it's still mostly China.
Is it really? Because the last time I checked, it was like 55% Western kind of NATO allied powers, and then the other was China and Kazakhstan.
Oh, maybe it's shifted back over because I forgot China started to crack down on a lot of the mining stuff. So you're probably right. I haven't looked in a while.
Yeah, it's been at least like a year since I've really looked at it, so maybe it's shifted. Maybe worth another look. But yeah, that would be pretty concerning. I mean, you really have to watch for it, right? If a certain amount of hash power gets concentrated amongst the Western powers, if you will, Western Europe, United States, etc., that could be a problem. That could end up being a big problem. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Oh, you got a comment here from Benson. Question for Bawdy: if you were Ross, would you stay in the U.S.? Would you still be a freedom advocate?
I would 100% still be a freedom advocate. I'm not sure that I would stay in the U.S. That would be pretty tough. I would probably spend a couple years in the U.S. and then I would get the fuck out, because in my mind, here's what I'm thinking. I've made enemies out of all the Fed boys out there. They fucking hate me. They're going to be watching everything I do. I would be somewhat inclined to just renounce my citizenship and go somewhere else. It's a really tough question. I couldn't say that for sure, but it would be on my mind for sure. I imagine, he's probably.
But even
fine,
then,
like,
we see like Roger Ver. It's crazy. He's been expatriated from the United States for like 8 years now, maybe almost more. Yeah, it's like probably like 8 years, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's been almost a decade, I think. But maybe it's been a whole decade. But yeah, so that is another part of the calculus there. Like, well, even if I leave, are they still going to try and find a way to come after me? That's It seems like he's gonna have a pretty good life regardless. It looks like he's got quite a lot of people have already
Looks like he's
donated
well
to him, quite a
supported.
lot of-
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's good. I'm really
You can
happy to see
donate
that.
XMR. A lot of us sent emails to the project requesting that they'd add XMR, and very quickly they did. They added a Monero donation link to, I think it was the freeross.org. So you can donate to Ross Ulbricht's family now for personal use funds, because any funds that were raised before that he couldn't use. It was only relating to like his campaigning for him to be released and all that stuff. But now if you donate to him, he can actually use it personally. So you can donate Monero to Ross Ulbricht and his family, like his mom, Lynn Ulbricht, over at freeross.org. So cool to see.
Yeah, and definitely I'd say like there's a lot of people doing a lot of donation campaigns for Ross, but one thing is that when that happens, you're like, hey, we've raised X amount for Ross. And it's like, who should know how much Ross has raised, right? Who should know how much he's getting? Nobody should know. That's nobody's fucking business.
Exactly.
Better to donate to him directly with Monero so that nobody knows, including the government, especially.
Because we already know how much Bitcoin he got. He got like $6 million worth of Solana shitcoins that probably are not very liquid, you know. We can see all that, which is kind of crazy, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have to take care of his OPSEC in a big way now as well, because, you know,
yes, for sure. But I got to say, props to Kraken. I don't know if you saw, but Kraken donated over $100,000 of Bitcoin to his new fund. So
yeah,
got to give him some respect for that.
Yeah, I still get the generally good vibes from Kraken. You know, I always try and keep a little. They're an exchange, and they're kind of like, you know, I raise an eyebrow at them sometimes, but only out of like healthy skepticism, not out of, you know, like trying to. But yeah, I mean, I still get good vibes from those guys. So.
Yep, of course.
All right, brother. Do we have anything else to share here, or should we?
All right, no, I think that was it. My phone battery's getting pretty low, so I'm gonna go ahead and end it off here. Thank you so much, Bawdy, for helping me out on this very off day. Both me and Doug are currently in Miami for the Counterparty conference, and I think you could see our talks online. Doug had talk about Monero projects. But yeah, we'll be back next week for normal time. Thanks everybody for waiting. Sorry it was so scrambled, but that's just how it is sometimes. You know how Doug is. Doug will roll no matter when, what time. Hope you guys enjoyed Nick Spanos as his interview as well. He's a legend. So.
All right. Well, I hope you guys paint the town, crush it, and leave with you know, all the positive energy, etc.
Yes, sir. Have a good weekend, everybody. See you, Bawdy. Thank you once again.
See you next week, guys. Bye.
Thank you for joining us on this week's Monerotopia episode. We stream live shows every Saturday. Thank you for joining us on this week's Monerotopia episode. We stream live shows every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. You can find and subscribe to our show on YouTube and Odyssey, or listen to the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or Stitcher. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or join us in the Monerotopia Telegram group. See you all next week.